Jake Morrison yawned as he walked into the simulation room. The lights were too bright and his coffee was getting cold. He had stayed up late last night playing video games with his roommate Pete Johnson. Now he had to deal with another boring training exercise. "Morning, Jake," Katie Walsh said as she checked her equipment. She was always early and always ready. Jake sometimes wondered if she ever slept. "Hey, Katie, what's the mission today?" Jake asked while putting on his flight suit. "Same, old stuff. Commander Brooks wants us to do reconnaissance in an asteroid field." "Pretty basic," Katie replied. Danny Rodriguez jogged into the room, still eating a breakfast bar. "Sorry I'm late. My alarm didn't go off." "You say that every week," Alex Turner laughed. Alex was the quiet one in their group, but he had the best reflexes of all of them. Commander Lisa Brooks entered the room with her usual serious expression. She was tough, but fair. Most cadets respected her even when they complained about her training methods. "Listen up, cadets. Today's exercise is simple reconnaissance. You'll be flying through an asteroid field to gather data on mineral deposits. Standard patrol formation. Keep your eyes open and don't get lazy," Brooks announced. Jake nodded along with the others. He had done this type of mission dozens of times. It was routine stuff that first-year cadets learned in their sleep. What Jake didn't know was that his boring morning was about to become very interesting. Far above Luna Base, hidden behind the moon's shadow, 3 alien warships waited in silence. The ships belonged to the Zephyrian Empire, a race of proud warriors who had conquered 12 different planets in the last 50 years. War Captain Thexmore stood on the bridge of his flagship, studying the human base below. His species looked like tall lizards with sharp teeth and clawed hands. They had been watching Earth's military for months, preparing for invasion. "Are the humans ready for their training exercise?" Thexmore asked his weapons officer. "Yes, War Captain. Their young warriors are entering their small ships now. This will be the perfect test of their abilities before we attack their world," the officer replied. Thexmore smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Good. We will see how these soft mammals fight when they face real danger. Their peaceful nature will be their weakness." The Zephyrians had defeated many species before. Most aliens panicked when faced with superior firepower. The lizard-like warriors expected humans to be no different. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. Back in the simulation room, Jake climbed into his training fighter. The cockpit was cramped but familiar. He had spent hundreds of hours in ships like this one. The controls felt natural under his hands. "Communications check." Katie's voice came through his headset. "Jake here, all good," he replied. Danny checking in. "My targeting system is acting weird again," Danny said. "It's not the system, it's you," Alex teased. "You keep forgetting to calibrate the sensors." "Very funny," Danny shot back. "Commander." Brooks watched from the control room as her cadets prepared for launch. She had trained thousands of young officers over the years. This group was pretty typical. They had potential, but they were still careless and unfocused. "Remember, this is a reconnaissance mission. No unnecessary risks. Gather your data and return to base," Brooks told them over the radio. The 4 training fighters launched from Luna Base and headed toward the designated asteroid field. Jake felt the familiar pull of acceleration as his ship picked up speed. Flying was the one thing that always made him feel completely awake. "Formation looks good," Katie reported. She was flying point position, leading the small group. "Sensors are picking up the asteroid field ahead. Lots of rocks, some pretty big ones," Alex said from his position on the right wing. Jake settled into the routine of formation flying. He kept his ship steady and watched his instruments. The asteroid field stretched out in front of them like a maze of floating mountains. What he didn't see were the 3 Zephyrian warships moving into position behind the largest asteroids. "War Captain." Thexmore watched the human ships approach. They flew in a tight formation that showed discipline and training. But they were just children, barely out of school. How dangerous could they be? "Begin the test," Thexmore ordered. "Let's see how these young humans react to real combat." The first Zephyrian ship decloaked behind a large asteroid. Its weapons powered up with a low humming sound that would have terrified most species. The ship was 3 times larger than the human training fighters and carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Contacts ahead, Alex reported calmly. Looks like we have some unknown ships in the field. Jake looked at his sensors and saw the alien vessel. It was big and looked hostile, but he assumed it was part of the simulation. Must be the opposition force for today's exercise, he said. Brooks didn't mention we'd have live targets to practice on. Katie studied her readings. That's a weird design. I've never seen ships like that in our training programs. Maybe they're using new simulation models, Danny suggested while adjusting his sensor array. The cadets had no idea they were looking at real alien warships. To them, it was just another day at the academy. They treated the deadly Zephyrian vessels like holographic targets in a computer game. War Captain Thexmore was confused by the humans' calm reaction. Most species would have panicked or fled by now. Instead, these young warriors seemed completely relaxed. Perhaps they are braver than we expected, his weapons officer suggested. Or more foolish, Thexmore replied. No matter. Begin the attack. Show them what real warriors can do. The Zephyrian ship fired its main weapons at the human formation. Bright energy beams cut through space toward the training fighters. Jake saw the incoming fire and reacted automatically. He rolled his ship to the left and dove toward a nearby asteroid. It was a basic evasive maneuver that every first-year cadet learned in their first month. Wow, those special effects look really realistic, he commented while dodging another energy beam. Katie performed a sharp turn that brought her around behind the alien ship. Yeah, they've definitely upgraded the simulation graphics. This almost looks real. The Zephyrian crew watched in amazement as the human pilot executed a perfect flanking maneuver, while chatting casually with her teammates. Such skill and composure would have been impressive in a veteran warrior. In a student, it seemed impossible. Danny was having trouble with his targeting computer again. He switched to manual calculation mode and started working out firing solutions in his head. Math had always been easy for him. I think I can get a lock on that big ship if I come in from the right angle, he announced. War Captain Thexmore heard the translation through his communications system. A human child was calculating attack vectors against his flagship like it was a simple math problem. The casual confidence in the young warrior's voice made his scales crawl with unease. What kind of species trained their children to be so fearless in battle? Jake pulled his fighter into a smooth barrel roll as another energy beam flashed past his cockpit. The move was so natural he barely thought about it. He had practiced the same maneuver thousands of times in the academy simulators. Nice dodge, Katie said over the radio. She was munching on a ham sandwich while flying her ship through the asteroid field. These new training programs are getting pretty intense. War Captain Thexmore watched the human pilot eat food while under fire. In 50 years of warfare, he had never seen such calm behavior during combat. Most warriors needed all their focus, just to survive. This young human was treating the battle like a casual meal break. Sir, the human is consuming nutrients during combat, his tactical officer reported with confusion in his voice. Impossible, Thexmore growled. No creature can multitask at that level unless they have enhanced cognitive abilities. Katie finished her sandwich and wiped her hands on a napkin. Then she started calculating firing solutions while steering around a large asteroid. To her, it was just basic math and flying skills that every cadet learned. To the watching aliens, it looked like superhuman multitasking. I'm getting some interesting readings on these bogies, she announced. Their energy signatures are way different from anything in our database. Danny heard Katie's comment and got curious. He loved technical puzzles. While dodging plasma fire, he started running detailed scans on the alien ships. His fingers danced across multiple control panels as he gathered data from 17 different sensor arrays. You're right, Katie. These ships use some kind of exotic matter containment system. The power output ratios are fascinating, Danny said while performing a complex evasive pattern. He was humming an old Earth song called Sweet Caroline while he worked. The tune helped him concentrate during boring technical analysis. Danny had no idea that his casual humming was being picked up by Zephyrian communication systems. On the alien flagship, the crew listened to the strange human music with growing alarm. The young warrior was singing while analyzing their most advanced technology. He seemed completely relaxed even though 3 warships were trying to kill him. War Captain, the human is performing detailed scans of our vessels while vocalizing some kind of battle hymn, the communications officer reported. Thexmore's claws scraped against his command chair. Battle hymns were sacred songs that only the most experienced warriors sang during combat. If human children knew such ancient traditions, their military culture must be incredibly advanced. What made it worse was how fast the human was gathering technical data. Danny's routine sensor sweeps were collecting information that should have taken Zephyrian intelligence teams weeks to acquire. Alex had been quiet during the fight, but now he spoke up. "Hey guys, I think we might have a problem with the simulation parameters." "What kind of problem?" Jake asked while spinning his ship around a spinning chunk of rock. "Well, these enemy ships are using weapons that don't exist in any human database. Either someone programmed completely new technology for this exercise or we're looking at something that shouldn't be here," Alex explained. Alex was known for his careful thinking and attention to detail. When he said something was wrong, the other cadets usually listened. But right now they were too busy flying to worry much about technical details. Just then, Pete Johnson's voice crackled over the radio. "Sorry I'm late, guys. I overslept again." Pete's training fighter came zooming into the asteroid field at high speed. He had launched from Luna Base in a hurry and was trying to catch up with his teammates. What looked like reckless flying to the aliens was actually Pete making up for lost time. "No problem, Pete. We're just dealing with some new simulation enemies," Jake replied. Pete quickly scanned the tactical situation while flying toward the group. In 30 seconds, he absorbed all the important information about ship positions, weapon types, and movement patterns. His brain processed the data and formed a complete battle plan. "Okay, I see what's happening here. Katie, you've got the high ground advantage on the lead ship. Danny, your sensor position is perfect for electronic warfare. Alex, you can flank from the left while Jake provides cover fire," Pete said rapidly. To Pete, he was just catching up on a training exercise he had missed. To the Zephyrians, he appeared to be a tactical genius who could analyze complex battle situations in seconds. War Captain Thexmore felt cold fear creeping up his spine. The new human warrior had arrived late to the battle but instantly understood everything that was happening. He had created a perfect attack strategy faster than Zephyrian computers could process the same information. "Sir, should we retreat?" his weapons officer asked nervously. "Not yet," Thexmore replied, though his voice shook slightly. "Deploy the second attack wave. We need to see their full capabilities." Two more Zephyrian ships decloaked from behind. Distant asteroids. They moved into attack formation and powered up their most dangerous weapons. The alien crew hoped that overwhelming firepower would finally make the humans show fear. Katie noticed the new contacts on her sensors. "More simulation targets. This is turning into quite a workout." She started calculating engagement angles for multiple enemy ships while adjusting her flight path. The math involved complex three-dimensional geometry and physics calculations. Katie worked through the problems in her head while chatting with her teammates. "Danny, can you run interference on their targeting systems? I want to try something fancy," she said. "Sure thing," Danny replied. He began electronic jamming procedures that he had learned in his second-year electronics class. The techniques were basic academy curriculum, but they completely disrupted the aliens' advanced fire control systems. Pete laughed as he watched the enemy ships struggle with their weapons. Whoever programmed these AIs made them way too predictable. "Look, they're using classical flanking patterns from the textbook." His casual dismissal of their most sophisticated battle tactics hit the Zephyrian crew like a physical blow. These weren't just skilled human warriors. They were students who found their best strategies boring and outdated. War Captain Thexmore realized with growing horror that his elite battle fleet was being outfought by human children who weren't even taking the fight seriously. The young warriors treated deadly combat like homework. They solved complex tactical problems while eating snacks and humming songs. Their casual competence suggested that real human military forces would be utterly unstoppable. "Sir, what are your orders?" his tactical officer whispered. Thexmore stared at the display screens showing the impossible human performance. For the first time in his military career, he didn't know what to do. War Captain Thexmore decided he needed to test these human warriors with real danger. He ordered his ships to use their most powerful weapons. Energy beams that could destroy battleships fired toward the small human fighters. Jake saw the incoming fire and sighed. Man, these simulation effects are getting really annoying. I wanted to finish this exercise quickly so I could grab lunch before my next class. He twisted his ship through the deadly energy beams like he was avoiding raindrops. The moves looked effortless and smooth. Jake had learned them in basic flight training and practiced them so much they felt automatic. Yeah, this is taking forever, Katie agreed. She was checking her watch while dodging plasma bolts. I promised Sophie Martinez I'd help her study for the engineering exam this afternoon. The mention of Sophie's name made Jake perk up. Sophie was smart, funny, and beautiful. Jake had been trying to ask her out for weeks but kept getting nervous. Sophie Martinez? The one from Advanced Propulsion Theory? Jake asked while performing a perfect spiral dive around an asteroid. That's her. She's having trouble with quantum mechanics applications. I said I'd explain the math to her, Katie replied. War Captain Thexmore heard the translation of their conversation. These young human warriors were discussing academic subjects while under heavy fire. They spoke of quantum mechanics like it was simple knowledge that any student could learn. Sir, they're talking about theoretical physics during combat, his science officer reported with amazement. Impossible. Quantum mechanics is one of the most complex sciences in the galaxy. Only our greatest scholars understand such concepts, Thexmore said. But the humans kept talking about advanced science like it was normal schoolwork. Danny joined the conversation while jamming 3 different alien weapon systems simultaneously. Oh, Sophie's great with quantum theory. She helped me understand dimensional folding equations last month. Super smart girl, Danny said casually. Alex nodded in agreement. Yeah, Sophie could probably optimize our flight formation better than the Academy computers. She has this way of seeing mathematical relationships that most people miss. The Zephyrian crew felt their confidence cracking. These human children were discussing a female who apparently understood physics better than their most advanced computer systems. If their students possessed such knowledge, what did their actual scientists know? Pete was getting bored with the slow pace of the exercise. Hey, does anyone else think these enemy AIs are kind of dumb? Their attack patterns are really predictable. You're right, Jake agreed. It's like they're using outdated tactical programs from 20 years ago. No creativity at all. Pete analyzed the alien formations while talking. Look, they keep trying the same flanking maneuvers over and over. Any first-year cadet could counter these moves. War Captain Thexmore felt his hearts racing with panic. The human was dismissing their most advanced battle strategies as primitive and outdated. Tactics that had conquered 12 worlds were being called dumb by a child who had arrived late to the fight. Deploy everything, Thexmore ordered desperately. All ships, maximum firepower. Show them what the Zephyrian Empire can do. 6 more warships decloaked around the asteroid field. They formed a perfect encirclement and began firing with every weapon they had. The space around the human fighters filled with deadly energy beams, missiles, and plasma charges. Katie looked at her tactical display and frowned. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Are they trying to crash our computers with too many targets? She started tracking all 12 enemy ships while eating an apple she had packed for lunch. Katie's brain automatically calculated threat levels, optimal escape routes, and counterattack options. To her, it was just normal situational awareness that any pilot needed. I count 12 bogeys now, Alex reported calmly. Someone really went overboard with this simulation. Danny was getting frustrated with his equipment. My targeting computer keeps glitching. It can't seem to lock onto these weird energy signatures. He switched to manual targeting and started calculating firing solutions by hand. Danny's math skills were good enough that he could do complex ballistics equations in his head faster than most computers could process them. No problem, Danny. Just use the backup systems, Pete suggested. Remember what Professor Williams taught us about redundant targeting methods. The aliens listened in horror as the humans discussed backup systems and redundant methods as if multiple targeting computers were standard equipment on training fighters. Their own warships had only one targeting system, and it was considered advanced technology. Jake decided to try something he had learned in Advanced Combat Maneuvers class. "Hey guys, want to see if we can pull off that formation break and engage pattern we studied last week? The one from Chapter 12? Katie asked. "That's supposed to be really hard." "Come on, it'll be fun. We need to practice for the final exam anyway," Jake replied. The four human fighters suddenly split apart in different directions, then came back together in a complex weaving pattern that confused every Zephyrian targeting system. It was an advanced military maneuver that required perfect timing and communication. To the cadets, they were just practicing homework assignments. To the aliens, it looked like the most sophisticated fighter tactics they had ever seen. "This is impossible," Texmore whispered. "They're performing master-level combat maneuvers for fun." His weapons officer was shaking with fear. "Sir, maybe we should contact the homeworld. These humans might be more dangerous than we thought." "No," Texmore said firmly. "We are warriors of the Zephyrian Empire. We will not run from children." But, deep inside, War Captain Texmore was beginning to doubt his decision to test the humans. These weren't ordinary warriors. They treated the most advanced alien technology like toys, and performed impossible maneuvers while discussing lunch plans. Chris Adams's voice suddenly came over the radio from Luna Base. "Hey, is anyone else having trouble with the training network? The simulation parameters seem really glitchy today." Chris was monitoring the exercise from the communications center. He had noticed strange readings in the data streams and was trying to figure out what was wrong with the computer systems. "Yeah, the enemy AI is acting weird," Jake replied. "It's like they're using really old programming or something." Chris nodded even though no one could see him. "I'll run a diagnostic on the training computers. Maybe someone uploaded the wrong software package." The Zephyrians heard Chris talking about diagnosing their ships and calling their technology old programming. The casual dismissal of their most advanced systems as outdated computer code was the final blow to their confidence. War Captain Texmore stared at the tactical displays showing his 12 warships being outfought by 4 human students who were complaining about glitchy homework assignments. He was beginning to realize that attacking Earth might be the worst mistake the Zephyrian Empire had ever made. Nicole Parker was having a busy morning at Luna Base. She had overslept, missed breakfast, and now she was supposed to join the training exercise as backup support. Her instructor had told her to hurry up and help her classmates with their reconnaissance mission. Nicole grabbed her helmet and a bag of fast food from the cafeteria. She climbed into her training fighter while balancing a breakfast burrito and a cup of coffee. Flying and eating at the same time wasn't easy, but she had done it before during busy exam weeks. "Control, this is Nicole. Sorry I'm late." "Launching. Now to join the exercise," she said into her radio. Nicole's fighter shot out of the launch bay and headed toward the asteroid field. She could see energy beams flashing in the distance where her friends were practicing. The light show looked pretty impressive from far away. While flying toward the action, Nicole decided to video call her mom back on Earth. Her mother worried about her constantly and liked daily check-ins. Nicole figured she had a few minutes to chat before joining the simulation. "Hi Mom, just calling to let you know I'm okay," Nicole said as her mother's face appeared on her cockpit screen. "Hi sweetie, how are your classes going?" her mom asked. "Pretty good. I'm heading to a training exercise right now. It's just basic reconnaissance stuff, nothing dangerous," Nicole replied. She was flying through a field of deadly plasma fire while talking to her mother about weekend plans. Nicole dodged missile attacks with small movements of her control stick, like she was avoiding potholes on a road. War Captain Texmore watched the new human fighter approach his battle formation. This pilot was having a casual conversation with someone while under heavy fire. She seemed completely unaware that 12 warships were shooting at her. "Sir, the new human appears to be communicating with her family during combat," his communications officer reported. "Family?" Texmore asked, in disbelief. "Yes, sir. She's discussing social activities with what appears to be a maternal figure." Texmore felt his claws digging into his command chair. This human warrior was so confident in her abilities that she could chat with her mother while flying through the deadliest battle the Zephyrian Empire could create. Nicole finished talking. with her mom and switched to her social media app. She wanted to post a quick update about her boring day at the academy. While typing on her phone, she performed a perfect spiral maneuver that took her around 3 different asteroids. Another day, another training sim, she typed while dodging plasma bolts. Hope this one doesn't take too long. Want to grab pizza with friends later? She posted the message along with a selfie she took while flying upside down through the asteroid field. The photo showed her smiling face with explosions and energy beams visible through her cockpit window. Hey guys, Nicole here. This simulation is pretty intense today, she said over the radio to her teammates. Tell me about it, Jake replied. The graphics are amazing, but the AI is still really predictable. Nicole opened her takeout bag and started eating while steering with one hand. The food was getting cold and she was hungry. She had learned to multitask during her first year at the academy when there was never enough time for proper meals. Oh, wow. They really upgraded the special effects, she said while chewing a bite of her breakfast burrito. These explosions look almost real. She flew through a cloud of plasma fire that would have destroyed most ships. Nicole treated it like flying through a rain cloud, barely adjusting her course to avoid the worst of it. The Zephyrian crew watched in complete amazement as the human pilot consumed food, operated communication devices, and performed impossible flying maneuvers all at the same time. Her brain seemed to be processing multiple complex tasks without any difficulty. This is beyond anything we've ever encountered, Thexmore's science officer whispered. Her cognitive abilities are operating on multiple levels simultaneously. Nicole noticed that her targeting computer was having trouble locking onto the alien ships. The energy signatures were weird and didn't match anything in the Academy database. My systems are acting glitchy too, she commented. Maybe I should switch to manual targeting. She started calculating firing solutions in her head while finishing her breakfast. Math had always been easy for Nicole, and ballistics calculations were just basic physics. She could work out the equations faster than her computer could process them. I think I can get a clean shot on that big ship if I come in from below, she announced casually. War Captain Thexmore heard the translation and felt cold terror wash over him. This human child was planning to attack his flagship while eating breakfast and treating the whole situation like a minor inconvenience. Sir, perhaps we should consider withdrawal, his tactical officer suggested nervously. No, Thexmore growled, but his voice was shaking. We are warriors. We do not retreat from children. Nicole performed a complex attack run that brought her under the alien flagship. She fired her training weapons while taking another bite of her burrito. The shots hit exactly where she had calculated they would. Nice shooting, Katie said over the radio. Thanks. Though I have to say I'm probably going to fail this simulation, Nicole replied casually. Why? Alex asked. I'm way too distracted today. I keep thinking about my history essay that's due tomorrow. Plus, I'm texting with my roommate about party plans for this weekend, Nicole explained. She was having a conversation about schoolwork while performing maneuvers that the best Zephyrian pilots couldn't match. The idea that this level of skill represented failure by human standards was too much for War Captain Thexmore to handle. She says she's failing, he whispered to his crew. This impossible level of performance, and she considers it failure. The implications hit him like a physical blow. If human students who were failing could outfly his best warriors, what could their actual military forces do? What kind of unstoppable war machine had the Zephyrian Empire accidentally challenged? Tyler Brooks was monitoring communications from Luna Base when something strange started happening. His equipment was picking up broadcasts on military frequencies that weren't part of any training exercise. Commander Brooks, we're getting some weird signals, Tyler reported to his instructor. What kind of signals? Commander Brooks asked. They look like surrender transmissions, but they're not in any human language. The translation software is having trouble with them, Tyler explained. Amanda Stone looked at her console with confusion. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. Someone is broadcasting surrender offers on multiple channels. The cadets had no idea that the Zephyrian fleet was desperately trying to end the battle. They thought the strange transmissions were part of some new communication exercise that the Academy was testing. Maybe it's a linguistics challenge, Amanda suggested. You know how they like to surprise us with extra learning objectives. War Captain Thexmore realized that his surrender offers weren't being understood. The humans probably thought his pleas for mercy were some kind of test or game. Their casual dismissal of his desperate attempts at communication was the final proof of their absolute superiority. He had challenged a species so advanced that their children treated his empire's most powerful fleet like a training exercise. There was only one thing left to do. Open all channels, he ordered his communications officer. Broadcast on every frequency. Use every translation protocol we have. What message should I send, War Captain? Thexmore looked at the tactical display showing his defeated fleet being casually outfought by human students who were complaining about homework assignments. Tell them we surrender, he said quietly. Tell them the Zephyrian Empire yields to their superior power. Commander Lisa Brooks was drinking her morning coffee when alarms started going off all over Luna Base. Red lights flashed in the control room, and her communication systems lit up with incoming messages from Earth Command. What's happening? She asked Tyler Brooks, who was monitoring the training exercise. Ma'am, we're receiving surrender transmissions from unknown alien vessels. They're broadcasting on official military channels, not the training frequencies. Tyler replied with confusion. Brooks nearly dropped her coffee cup. Alien vessels? What alien vessels? The ones our cadets are fighting in the simulation, Amanda Stone said from her workstation. Except I don't think it's a simulation anymore. Admiral Frank Harrison's face appeared on the main communication screen. He looked worried and was surrounded by other high-ranking officers at Earth Command headquarters. Commander Brooks, we need you to explain what's happening up there. We're getting reports of an alien fleet surrendering to your training squadron, Admiral Harrison said. Sir, my cadets are conducting a routine reconnaissance exercise. There are no alien fleets involved, Brooks replied. Then who is broadcasting surrender messages in 17 different languages across every communication frequency in the solar system? The Admiral asked. Brooks looked at her tactical displays and felt her heart skip a beat. The training exercise showed 4 cadet fighters in an asteroid field, but her long-range sensors were detecting 12 large ships that definitely weren't human. Oh no, she whispered. In the asteroid field, Jake was getting tired of the long training exercise. He wanted to finish up so he could grab lunch and maybe work up the courage to ask Sophie Martinez out on a date. Hey guys, should we wrap this up soon? I'm getting hungry, he said over the radio. Yeah, this simulation is taking forever, Katie agreed. Plus, these enemy AIs are getting really repetitive with their attack patterns. War Captain Thexmore heard the translation and felt his remaining hope disappear. The human warriors were bored with the greatest military effort his empire could produce. They wanted to end the battle so they could eat food and pursue social activities. All ships, cease fire, he ordered his fleet. Prepare for total surrender. Danny noticed that the alien ships had stopped shooting. Finally. Looks like the simulation is ending. Those AIs must have run out of programming options. About time, Nicole said while finishing the last of her breakfast burrito. I need to get back to base and work on my history essay about the Napoleonic Wars. The mention of historical warfare made the Zephyrian crew even more nervous. If human students studied ancient military campaigns for homework, their knowledge of strategy and tactics must be incredibly deep. Pete was analyzing the alien ship formations when he noticed something odd. Hey, does anyone else think these ships look too realistic for simulation targets? What do you mean? Alex asked. I mean, look at the detail level. These designs don't match anything in our training database. The energy signatures are completely unknown. Either the Academy spent a fortune on new simulation technology, or these might actually be real ships, Pete explained. Jake looked at his sensor readings more carefully. Pete was right. The ships didn't look like any human design he had ever seen. The technology was completely alien. Uh-oh, Jake said quietly. Back at Luna Base, Admiral Harrison was coordinating with diplomatic teams from every major Earth government. The alien surrender broadcast had been detected by monitoring stations across the solar system. Commander Brooks, I'm sending Ambassador Sarah Williams up to Luna Base with a full diplomatic team. We need to figure out what's happening before this situation gets out of control, the Admiral said. Sir, what should I tell my cadets? Brooks asked nervously. Tell them to return to base immediately, and whatever they do, don't let them attack anything else, Harrison replied. Brooks opened a communication channel to her training squadron. All cadets, return to Luna Base immediately. End the exercise and come home now. Roger that, Commander, Jake replied. We're heading back. The 4 training fighters turned away from the asteroid field and began flying toward Luna Base. They left behind 12 alien warships that were broadcasting surrender messages in every language they knew. War Captain. Thexmore watched the human warriors depart and felt a mixture of relief and terror. They had casually defeated his entire fleet and then left like nothing important had happened. The display of overwhelming power and indifference was more frightening than any threat could have been. Sir, what are your orders? His communications, officer asked. Continue broadcasting surrender messages. Tell them we offer the complete submission of the Zephyrian Empire to the human species. Thexmore replied. When the cadets landed at Luna Base, they found the docking bay filled with military officers, scientists, and people in fancy suits. Crews were setting up equipment and everyone looked very serious. What's all this about? Katie asked as she climbed out of her fighter. I think we might be in trouble, Danny said nervously. Admiral Harrison walked over to the confused cadets with Ambassador Williams and a team of linguists. He looked at the 4 young people who had accidentally caused the first contact between humanity and an alien empire. Cadets, I need you to tell me exactly what happened during your training exercise, the Admiral said. Jake looked around at all the important people staring at him. Sir, we just did a basic reconnaissance mission in an asteroid field. We encountered some unknown ships that we thought were simulation targets. Simulation targets, the Admiral repeated slowly. And what did you do when you encountered these targets? Standard evasive maneuvers and defensive tactics, sir. Just like we learned in class, Katie replied. Ambassador Williams stepped forward. Cadets, those weren't simulation targets. They were real alien warships from something called the Zephyrian Empire. And according to their surrender broadcasts, you've just convinced them that humanity is the most powerful military force in the galaxy. The 4 cadets stared at her in shock. But we were just flying around and dodging some energy beams, Alex said weakly. We didn't even try to fight them seriously, Nicole added. I was eating breakfast the whole time. Admiral Harrison nodded grimly. That's exactly what terrified them. You treated their most advanced military technology like it was homework. Practice. Over the next few hours, the full story came out. The Zephyrian Empire had been planning to invade Earth after testing human defenses. Instead, they discovered that human training exercises were more sophisticated than their actual military operations. The aliens officially surrendered to humanity without a single shot being fired in anger. They begged to become a protected species, under human rule, convinced that any civilization capable of training such skilled warriors must be impossibly advanced. Jake finally got his lunch, but he was too shocked to enjoy it. He had accidentally started humanity's first interstellar empire while trying to finish a boring school assignment. Sophie Martinez found him sitting alone in the cafeteria, staring at his sandwich. Hey, Jake, I heard you had an interesting morning, she said with a smile. Yeah, you could say that, Jake replied. Want to grab dinner sometime? I promise it'll be more normal than today. Sophie laughed. I'd like that. Just try not to conquer any more alien empires on our first date. Jake smiled back, finally feeling like something good had come out of the strangest day of his life. Outside Luna Base, the Zephyrian fleet waited, patiently for instructions from their new human overlords, still amazed that they had been defeated by students who complained about glitchy homework assignments.